man's friendliness is always misunderstood by black women, and we put too much pressure on black men.
Wait a minute. Are we saying if black women are really single, or the quality of guys that are out there are not necessarily?
I think it's
many women.
I think the quality of guys is not.
Can I be understanding? Yeah. Let's understand something.
Yeah.
Can I be understanding?
Like, let's understand something. There's too many women.
Yeah.
There's like 7 to 1 guy.
If you had a choice, would you have more than one woman?
We cannot answer them kind of questions. I'm married. What kind of questions are these? That is not in the manual. Edit, cut, remove.
Okay, hypothetically speaking, if you could have more than one...
My dad did, my uncles did, my dad's dad did, my
friends are the same.
Yeah. Okay. What happened now is generations have changed. It's you women now that are not accepting it.
Yes, yeah.
It's you women now that are not accepting it. My moms, my aunties, 4 wives, 3 wives, 2 wives.
But how wealthy were they?
What wealthy?
How wealthy were the men?
Some people were poor as shit and had 7 wives.
Well, then that's
it was about the fact that there wasn't enough women. There's not enough men.
Because you know why women are on the rise.
So we're saying, okay,
now you're doing empowerment and everything. Fantastic, wonderful.
Yeah.
Some of you are not going to marry.
Yeah, it's true.
Some of you are not going to have
kids. They're going to be forever single.
Some of you are going to be single forever. Some of you are going to be in and out of relationships.
What
I'm saying is because there's 7 to 1. So that one woman that's not willing to do 100%, that guy is going to find another woman that's willing to do it. It's just how it works. Why? Because guys more than likely.
But can we also talk about the caliber of men? Because come on, it's shoddy business going on out there. Like some of my friends, I'm like, you good girls.
Now, this is the problem. And the problem came from the controllers of the society. And one of them is on the panel right now as they speak. See, and he said, the African guy say, y'all doing empowerment now. No, it ain't no y'all. It's the so-called white man that's doing empowerment. He's empowering y'all to destroy yourself. He's empowering y'all to live a life of singleness and a life of stress and pain. See, that's why I say somebody that's speaking fair is you shouldn't believe them. Let me get that first. Proverbs 26 and 25, it say, when he speak fair, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. And that's what the so-called white men do when he tell you, oh, you can have one man and he is all for you and it's all about you and he need to be worshiping you. And see, this is the crap. And so I wanted to get to the society. Why are we even having this problem? Why is this problem in existence? Okay, let me get this. Let's see here. Proverbs 29 verse 2. It say when the righteous are in authority. That's the blacks, Hispanics, and Native American. The bottom of society. It says when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. See, that's the kingdom of heaven. They're going to be rejoicement when we ruling. Ruling by God's laws. It say, but when the wicked beareth rule, that's the rulership now. That's what's going on now. The people mourn. So when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. The people are mourning, the women are mourning, because he's bearing rule. The wicked nation of the so-called white men. So everybody can understand. And so this is the reason, because he's coming with his laws and his Christianity that changed the law. See, that's how he changed the laws, through his Christianity. Because they got the law book and he giving you his philosophy of the law book. He give you the law book, he go to the law book, And then he say, well, here go Christianity, and Christianity tells you that the laws are done away with. So now you got the law book, but the laws are done away with, so the laws don't matter. So you got the law book, but he telling you the laws are done away with. And God told you this is how you run a household. This is how you run a relationship. This is how you could run marriage. It's all are laws and order to this thing. And so the women don't know what is to be done. And that's why the households are destroyed. And so this African guy, he is proving that all the lies that's been told by the so-called white men and these women who are confused by them, and they teach other women and confuse other women to follow their path, because they gonna say, oh, because she keep bringing it up, and she's from either the UK or in America. These type of women, she's red bone. She probably traveling to America, back to Europe, in the kingdom of the so-called white man and Christianity. So she's always talking about the caliber of man, the money that this man got, and everybody that's on that subject that's what they bring up, because they get it from the so-called white man. That's what he used to try to prove his point. But that's not what is the reality. This African man who go by the culture of the God's laws. See, the Africans and the Indians and these other nations, the Muslim, Arab peoples, they go by the God's laws. They culture is under God's laws, and they don't have no problem. It ain't no issue about somebody got some money, because that's not the situation. The situation is 2 million more women than men, especially here in America. In America is 2 million more women than men. 2 million. So if you don't understand that, now he threw out the data of 7-1. If you got 7-1, that means every man can have 7 wives. Every man can have 7 wives. 7 to 1 man. Now let's get that first. I want to get that first in Isaiah, because this is Bible prophecy we talking about here. Isaiah chapter, and that's spiritual, how he hit that on the nail. He hit it on the nail. Here it is. It says, Isaiah chapter 4 verse 1. In that day 7 women shall take hold of 1 man, saying, we will eat our food, we will eat our bread, we will eat our own bread, and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. Because this is what's going on. This is the condition of the society, and you got, or this is the demographics of the society. You got 7 to 1 of men. You got 2 million more women than men. And so when this society break down, it's going to be a natural fall into the law. It's like a tree. The fruit fall from the tree naturally. When that fruit is ripe and it's starting to become rotten and die, it falls to the ground naturally. It's a natural fall. Gravity. The law of gravity is just natural. You don't have to push and make that law do what it's so gonna do. What goes up is gonna come down. That's gravity. And so with these laws that in relationships, when the rulership of the so-called white men fall down, the prophecies say that it's gonna be 7 women. It's gonna take hold of 1 man. See, women gonna understand that the white man is the devil and he's a liar, and he's trying to deter you away from God's laws. And you're gonna live a life. When you live a life away from God's laws, you're gonna destroy yourself. It's for your destruction. Because he is the cunning hunter. He is deceiving the world. That's why when he's pushing his so-called democracy, it's always about women's rights. Because he's gonna destroy these other nations. But when, just like I was looking at some other thing, was saying the girls were saying, well, we looking at our counterparts, the so-called white women, and they're another video I seen with Steve Harvey and the black women in America, the so-called black women in America was saying that they got all this, they got good jobs, but their counterpart, the so-called white women, be married at 25 with a happy family. See, his peoples ain't being destroyed by this situation because they can deal with that situation, and that's a part of their culture. They already living like that. But when these peoples are in poverty, and your women can help your situation, because if a man is in poverty, if you got one worker, let's make it real plain. If you got one worker, another worker gonna make the job easy. See, and a house is a job. Managing a house is a job. It's a job it's a job. Manage the house. You build a house. You put maintenance on the house. You build on to the family. You build the family. It's a building process. The whole situation is a building process. So when you add on workers, see, a woman is a helpmate. You add on a helper. Now the house can be ran. You got more than one person to run the house. You add on another helper. Now you got more helpers to the house. You add on another helper. Now you got 3 helpers to the house. You add a couple children. Now you got more helpers to the house. They doing chores. See? You adding on to this house. And that's what the scriptures don't got no skin. It ain't dealing with no skin color, no African Americans, or no whites, or no Chinese. None of that is in the Bible. It's all about the house of Jacob, the house of Esau, the house of Ammon, the house of Moab, tabernacles of Ham, the house of Ham, the house of Japheth, the house of, see, it's all about the house. But the deceiver, the serpent, the adversary of God, he have told everybody through his Christianity that it was only 2 men and women in the beginning, a man and a woman. No. That was given classification, telling you it's men and it's women, plural. One talking about just Eve and Adam was 2 people. See, through his Christianity, you would think that it's only one person. 2 people, one man and one woman getting together. No. He was saying that the men was getting with the women. And then the serpent came and brought evilness to the situation, deception, and the women went with it. That's the same thing with Christianity. They going with Christianity where you don't know where you come from. You don't have no kind of identity. You don't have no past. All identities are irrelevant to the conversation and to knowledge. Nobody should know their identity. That don't matter. You're a Christian. That's the only identity you need to know. And so now his philosophy is your God, is your power. The only power you got is in his philosophy. Christianity. You ask him, what's your identity? Oh, I'm a Christian. It don't matter what my identity is. And so at the end of the day, everything is falling on this dragon. He is the problem. He the one is keeping these women single when it's 2 million women compared to the men is 2 million more women than men. Every man can have 7 wives. Now let's certify that. We got 2 verses in the law of God. 2 verses in the law of God. Let the screen show this. They need to see it for themselves. Okay, Exodus, the law that was given to Moses. It says, Exodus 21:10, if he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. You see, so this is the whole thing. Now, and then look at verse 11. Man, good. All right, people bring out this verse, but look at him. He said, if he do not these 3 unto her, then shall she go out free without money. She shall go free without money. So if he don't live up to the standard of being able to feed her and clothe her and call her his wife, he have to send her away, and he don't owe her nothing. He don't owe her nothing as a second wife. But to have another wife is reasonable. Now when this not reasonable, it's lawful. That's the word. To have another wife or another wife or another wife is lawful. To add on a wife or wives is lawful. And this is what the devil, the white man, the deceiver, is not finna tell you. He never finna bring this out. He never finna address it. See, but this is also going into the concerns of most of the women, because most of the women want to talk about, the caliber of man, and they don't got no money. But see, the African man say, my aunties accepted it, and some of these men had 7 wives and they was dirt poor. But see, this is what the devil has done in his rulership. When he beareth rule, like Proverbs say, he got it in America where nobody owns land. And especially the so-called black and Hispanic man. They don't own land. You only rent land. Meaning you got to be bringing in income to rent this land. And if you so-called get some kind of a deed to the land, you still got to pay him taxes. You see, $300 a year, so much dollars a year. So you only can rent land from the so-called white man, and rent his houses. And so these men, they're going to need to do that before they can get the first wife. And then when they do that, the first wife is going to help them be able to get the second wife. And that's how he can build on his house. But this is not the lifestyle in America and in the UK. They have laws let's get that real quick in Daniel, because this is the prophecy telling what these dragons was gonna do when they began to rule. Daniel 7:25, it say, and he shall speak great words against the Most High. See, he gonna speak against what the Most High have set up, meaning pretty much that God laws is done away with. You don't have to do things how God say you should do them. And shall wear out the saints of the Most High. See, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native American men here in America who got to rent out land from the so-called white man, he wearing them out. And they telling the men back in 1865, they told the Native American men, you can't have multiple wives. They was building on having multiple wives. In the Native American was doing that before the so-called white man got over him. But not 1865, they went to telling the Native American, y'all can't do that anymore. Mind you, it's the same time they giving the Southern Kingdom, Judah, to the government, saying the government own y'all. Y'all not owned by individual whites anymore. Now then the verse goes on to say, and think to change times and laws. See, now you running by a clock. You going by a clock and by a whole nother calendar. And the laws that he telling you to go by is not the laws of God. See, he's speaking against God laws, great words against God law. And those great words is being brought out through Christianity, through misunderstanding Genesis, through misunderstanding what Yahushua was saying, who they ignorantly called Jesus Christ. See, about what happened in Genesis, because Yahushua was bringing out Genesis. But he wasn't, if you don't understand Genesis, you're not going to understand what Yahushua was saying about it was one man and one woman. He wasn't saying that talking about one. It wasn't one man and one woman. It was Adam and it was Eve, but they was all coming from the nation of Adam, because Adam just meant man. And they was the leaders over the other nation. Let's get that real quick to give an understanding of Genesis, because the devil will deceive you all day long. Now it says, let's see here. Verse 8, let's get this real quick. It said the cedars in the garden of God could not hide him. See, the nation of Adam and Eve, or the nation of Adam, which had women in it, and that was called Eve. It says the fir trees were not like his boughs, and the chest trees was not like his branches, nor any tree in the garden of God was like unto him in his beauty. See, no other nations that was there, no other families that was there was like this family. It was just like the nation of Israel. They was the chosen nation. And look at verse 6. Verse 6, it say, all fowls of heaven made their nests in his boughs, and under his branches did all the beasts of the field bring forth their young, and under his shadow dwelt all great nations. See, it let it be known that these were nations. These trees was a nation. And they came and they took shelter under Adam. Adam was a protection to them. That's what the law is. The law is a protection. Now verse 9, it tells you what happened. It say, I have made him fair by the multitude of his branches, so that all the trees of Edom that were in the garden of God envied him. See, the Most High made this one nation to be above all other nations, just like the nation of Israel, and they envied him. Let's get that real quick. Deuteronomy 7:6. See, he say, for thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. He created one people to be the parents and the organizers of all the other people on the earth. And the other nations was jealous of this situation. Like the children envy the parents because the parents tell them what to do. It's all the same situation. And so this is why they think that the so-called white man is telling them the truth, because they automatically envy. They don't even want to follow the fact that the man is telling them what to do. So they're not gonna follow the fact that this man can add on wives to his household. They don't even want to deal with that. And see, this is the deception of the so-called white man, and this is why these women are single. And the African man letting you know it's being practiced in other countries. The God's laws is being practiced through the Muslims, and these other nations are practicing God's laws. It's only here in America where the so-called white man know that he has the children of Israel in captivity. He has the chosen people in captivity, and they are not going to be following God's laws. God's laws is going to destroy. God's laws is going to make it where I can't keep them in bondage. Now look at here. Well, let's get this. Hosea. See, this is letting you know this is what destroying our women in our families. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. What knowledge is that? Look at it. What he say? Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I also will reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God. I also will forget thy children. See, your children finna catch all hell. Your women finna catch hell. Everybody finna catch hell because they're following the so-called white man telling them that the law is done away with. Follow Christianity. Your identity is done away with. Forget about an identity and a heritage and all of that. Follow me. Just like the serpent told Eve. Follow me and my thing is going to be much better. You see? And it's desirable to say everybody can get something. Everybody can be special. See, that's a desirable thing. Everybody can get money. Everybody can be happy. See, it's a desirable thing to say everybody. But that's not God's plan. See, once you go out of his plan and his laws, you dealing with something that's going to destroy you, because he is dictating everything. And he set it up to where it's going to happen exactly how he said it's going to happen. And you ain't going to be able to change it. So when you jump out there and you go against it, you're destroying yourself. That's why he said, my people are destroyed. Because they want to go with the philosophy of the serpent, the so-called white man. And that's why these women are single. You have to know the strategies of these deceivers, these antichrists, these anti-anointed. Because the Christ just means the anointed. He was the ultimate anointed. See, because he died for the anointed. But the anointed is the children of Israel, or the nation that God chose to rule and organize the other nations and protect the other nations with his laws. It's that simple, man. But I'm going to leave it there. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Kakadash, the wellness to the elders pushing the truth, peace to the elect worldwide. Our kingdom is at hand. Shalom.